Bryce, and welcome to the California 500 here today, or rather the Auto Club 500, excuse me, here at the California Speedway. Almost said that backwards. For the 12th race of the season. Naturally, this isn't the 12th race. This is the 9th race of the 2003 Winston Cup Series season. And this track is a very beloved track. And we should see some pretty interesting racing here today, as the point standings are probably going to get shaken up a lot here today. Speaking of which, Ryan Newman going into this race leads with Zachary Smithly, last race winner at Martinsville in second. And you have Rudd third, Gordon in fourth, Johnson in fifth, Matt Kenseth in sixth, Bill Elliott seventh, Kurt Busch in eighth, Kevin Harvick in ninth, and Mike Waltrip running out the top 10. The notable names we're going to be focusing on today, we're going to be Steve Parker at 30th, Robbie Gordon in 40th. So we'll keep an eye on them, but let's go on ahead and get to the starting lineup for the start of today's race. So here we are at the starting lineup, and this is a bit of an interesting one. As in row number one, we have Michael Waltrip, who wins the pole once again this season. He won the pole, excuse me, back at the Daytona 500. And to his outside is John Andretti. Row number two, it is rookie Tony Raines and Jeff Burton. Row number three is Bill Elliott with Jimmy Spencer to his outside with his best start of the season. Row four is Casey Mears with his best start of the season, and Dave Blaney to his outside. Terry Labonte and Jeff Green will round out row number five. Row number six, it is Matt Kenseth and Ricky Rudd. Row seven today is Todd Bodine and Jerry Nadeau. Row eight is Robbie Gordon, one of the guys we're going to be paying attention to today, or focusing on a little bit today. And to his outside is Rusty Wallace. Row number nine is the rookies of Jamie McMurray and Greg Biffle. Row 10, it is Mark Martin and Jimmy Johnson, who won this race last season. Row 11 today, you'll find Sterling Marlin and Joe Nemechek. Row 12, it is Johnny Benson and Bobby Labonte. Row 13, Elliott Sadler and Steve Park, who we are also going to be paying attention to somewhat today. Row 14, it is Kurt Busch and Larry Foyt. Row 15, Tony Stewart and Mike Skinner. Row 16 is Ricky Craven and Jeff Gordon. Row 17 is Dale Earnhardt Jr. and Ward Burton. Row 18 is Jerry Mayfield and current Winston Cup Series point leader Ryan Newman. Then in row 19, it is Kevin Harvick and Dale Jarrett. Row 20 is Kyle Petty and Kenny Wallace. Row 21 will find Jack Sprague and Christian Fittipaldi, who makes his second start of the season. And round out the field of row 22, it is Zachary Smithly. In the DNS we have today are Bobby Hamilton Jr., Derek Cope, Ken Schrader, Kirk Shelmerdine, and Morgan Shepherd. Ken Schrader wasn't able to make it to today's race, so that's one of the reasons why he is out of today's race in favor of Christian Fittipaldi. And there's some track information. The pit window should be around lap 30 to 36, tires 30 to 33, and fuel around 32 to 36. Possible multi-groove racing, and with the multi-groove racing, will there be a new first-time winner? As currently as is so far in the season, we've had 7 different winners. Those being Ryan Newman at Daytona and Vegas, Zachary at Rockingham, and last time out at Martinsville, Bill Elliott back at Atlanta, Jeff Byrne back at Darlington, Jimmy Johnson at Bristol, Jamie McMurray at Texas, and Greg Biffle at Talladega. There we go. I, for some reason, could not think that it was Talladega for some reason, but will we have a new first-time winner, or will we have our third repeat winner of the season, as we've had 3 rookies win so far this season, and with Tony Raines starting in second today, and Tony Raines starting in third, and Casey Mears starting in 7th, there is a big possibility that maybe we could have a rookie winner today. But there's also a possibility for another first-time winner, as there's a lot of drivers at the front of the field that have not won so far this season, and the only one inside the top 10 that's won a race so far this season is Jeff Byrne in that number 99, who sits in 4th right now. So today's going to be very, very interesting. Definitely a shaken up field, and it's going to get wild. I guarantee it from the drop of the green flag. But now it is time to go on ahead and set it up to Mike Joy, Larry Mack, and DW, as always, to go on ahead and lead us to the green flag for today's race.
All right, boys, quit looking at the California scenery, because it's that time.
It's time for DW, especially since we're going to be going off in that corner 200 miles an hour. Reach up there and pull them belts tight.
Oh, baby, I'm loving every minute of this. I'm coming down here, and we'll get the green flag from Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I'm going to go, buggity, 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 boys.
out of turn number 4 and down the front straightaway. Michael Waltrip, who is having a stellar run this season, will lead the opening lap today here at the California Speedway. And in second place, it is John Andretti. Third is Jeff Burton. And the battle for fourth between Tony Raines and Jimmy Spencer is actually brewing between the two. There's also a couple of checkups coming off of turn 2 the last time around. And that is probably going to be a big concern for a lot of drivers. You see Jeff Burton on the outside of John Andretti trying to take a second place away. And it seems like he's going to get a nice run and take it. Halfway down the back and going into 3, he clears him. And now he's going to set his sights after that Napa Chevy of Michael Waltrip. So this one should be pretty interesting to see what's going to happen, because Burton seems to be pretty quick. But Michael Waltrip, y'all remember back at Darlington, he did not want to give up the win so easily. He had Jeff Burton work for it. So you have a little 3-wide battle going on. A lot of action going on deep within the field. You see Jimmy Johnson back there with Matt Kenseth and Rusty Wallace, top of 9, all the way on the outside. No drivers are really hooking the bottom, which is not really a surprise. Mainly around the middle to outside lines are the two preferred lines that a lot of these drivers are going to be running today. See Zachary in the 80 car, who won the pole and won the race back last time out at Martinsville, kind of having a little bit of a 0-0 moment as he starts dead last. But he's made his way up nicely through the field as he's passing Tony Stewart. He's going to sit his sights up to Johnny Benson and fellow rookie Greg Biffle in the 16. Which it seems like Zachary is probably the only driver that's going to be around the bottom a lot more today. When you go around the bottom, you do save a little bit more tires. You see Zach, look at him. He's all the way on the bottom by himself. We only got a lot of drivers trying out different lines, like Matt Kenseth. Zachary just hooked the bottom oh so nicely, and he was able to get a nice run and pass Kenseth. Wasn't quite able to get Biffle or Benson, but he'll get back up there eventually. And here is Robbie Gordon. We said we were going to talk about him, and here's what we're going to talk about today. He's only got one top 10 finish so far this season back at Talladega. He's finished outside the top 10 pretty much every other race. And the big thing to take away from this is that he failed to qualify last time out at Martinsville. Meanwhile, his teammates, Jeff Green and Kevin Harvick, are both comfortably in the show. Both have multiple top 5s and top 10s for that matter. And Robbie Gordon, he's on the hot seat. He is not looking good for Robbie Gordon as we have a little bit of a stack up. Ooh, a little bit of trouble back there. Looks like Rusty Wallace caught the wall and he brought a lot of drivers with him. Fortunately, he grabbed Nadu as well. Both cars got damage. Seems like Steve Parker, the one, kind of got caught up in it. No damage on the one car, though, so he kind of escaped away without any damage. But look at they're 4 wide back behind him. Look at this. Oh, my God. You got Kenseth in the 17, you got Kurt Busch in the 97, Craven in the 32, Gordon in the 24. There you see Ryan Newman, the current point leader, involved in this, too. He loses enough points, Zachary might actually be able to take the point lead off of him coming out of this race. As another car gets in the wall again, it's Bobby Labonte this time. Bobby Labonte caught the wall hard. He's going to bring Matt Kenseth and a lot of drivers back even further. There goes Kenseth, Newman, Skinner, Sprague on by, and Bobby Labonte's got some massive, massive damage. As Craven Sadler, Nemechek, Ward Byrne, and Larry Foyt were unfortunately caught behind Bobby Labonte. It seems like Labonte's going to try to bring him down to pit lane, and never mind. He's actually going to hang it around the bottom and come in next time by, but he hit the wall pretty hard. He lost a lot of momentum. Jerry Nadu, that you see in the 01 car, it was wondering when he was going to come down to the pits. He had quite some damage after the contact he had a few laps ago with Rusty Wallace in the 2. But now we look back up ahead. It seems like Waltrip's kind of adding a little bit of a gap to Burton. But Burton's able to keep Waltrip in his sights. And Waltrip's just not really able to get rid of that Sitco Ford for Jack Roush. It's like Roush Racing has been on a bit of a tear so far this season with Jeff Burton and Greg Biffle, as both drivers are the only 2 drivers who have scored a win so far this season. And Burton, he actually got a nice run come out at turn number 2, and he's closed the gap on Waltrip in the 15. Waltrip runs a little higher, and Burton just kind of follows in his line. Burton, he does go to the bottom a little bit. Waltrip to get a little bit squirrely. That might open the door for Burton to try to come after Waltrip. They're going to be side by side down the straightaway, but Waltrip, he does have a little bit more momentum than Burton does. As they enter one there fully side by side. Waltrip's going to go higher. Burton's going to go lower. And Jeff Burton, can he grab the lead? Oh, can he clear him out of 2? Doesn't look like it. Waltrip holds it on the outside. Once again, side by side down the back straightaway between these two. These two have not been able to get away from each other pretty much so far this season. Whether it's for the win at Darlington, here, or any other place. Here comes Burton again. But Waltrip on that outside is going to get a run off of 4, grab the lead back. He's going to hold it as he's going to lead this lap. The lead lap 9 at 62. So Waltrip's led the opening 9 laps here today at California. The one little slip up could do him in. And oh, looks like he had a little slip up right there. And Burton's going to take advantage of it. And he's going to go for the lead. Coming out of turn number 2. Jeff Burton out front here at Auto Club. What a move by Burton. That Sitco Ford is pretty fast. We didn't know how much more faster it was going to be than Waltrip. Oh, wow. Waltrip had a snap of oversteer. That was a pretty big snap, too. He lost even more time to Burton. Very, very, very unfortunate for Waltrip. But that'll be the first lap so far this race that Waltrip will not lead. You see Bobby Labonte in the 18 on the bottom, coming back on the racetrack after getting his car repaired. See Andretti, Spencer going by. Tony Raines is going to go by. Dave Blaney's going to go by. Nadu's probably going to go by, but he's a lap down. He's in between Dave Blaney and Bill Elliott in the 9. Quite a bit of a distance to Rudd and the Mears. And then there's Zach, who actually just ended up passing Jimmy Johnson not that long ago. Zach's car looks very, very comfortable around this track. He is very planted to the ground, and Zachary, if he wants his car planted to the ground, he wants it that way. A lot of these drivers, they have their cars pointed upward. Zachary doesn't. And look at Casey Mears in the 41. We know it's 11 laps into this race, but Casey Mears running inside the top 10 for the rookie. He hasn't had the best of season so far, but he has been showing some. He's been showing some flashes of some pretty decent runs performances. And who knows, maybe this will propel him to maybe get some better finishes. And here's Robbie Gordon of the 31, who's in dire need of a really, really good run. Not just today, but also next time out at Rockingham, at Richmond. They both start with an R. You can see where I got them confused. But he's in need for a really good finish today. As you see further back, a little bit further back, his teammate Jeff Green is fighting Biffle in the 16, Earnhardt Jr. in the 8, and Terry Labonte in the 5. They're 3 wide behind it with Marlin, and Mayfield. Looks like that battle got sorted out. A little bit further back in the pack, there's Christian Fittipaldi in the 33, making his second career Cup start. Unfortunately, he's only got the trading paint car, but he's doing pretty good. His first time out back at I think it was Atlanta, didn't really go too well for him. But here today, he's able to have a nice battle with Kurt Busch, Jeff Gordon, and even stay ahead of Tony Stewart for a little bit. So the rookie's having a really good run as of right now. But a lot of these veterans that have kind of gotten used to this track are not doing too well. As you see, Rusty Walls, with the damage that he has, not really going to be able to fight Kurt Busch. He's going to try to fight Gordon. He actually fought Gordon so hard to the point where Gordon couldn't actually pass him. But now Rusty's in Fittipaldi's line. Man, they get close to that outside wall. And they're still 3 wide down the back straightaway with Tony and Gordon underneath of them. See, Kenny Wallace in the 23s joining the fight, or joining the frame, rather. Yeah, Rusty just has a lot of damage, and it's really slowing up Christian Fittipaldi as of right now. But Tony, Kenny Wallace, and Jeff Gordon are able to get around Rusty. You see Fittipaldi going to try to go a little bit further down to try to maybe pass Rusty Wallace in the 2, but in turn, he's going to pass Jeff Gordon in the 24. And you got Matt Kenseth in the 17 back there. Don't know what's really happened with Kenseth so far this season. He hasn't had really any good runs since after Vegas. He must have been pretty down after what happened at Vegas, so not looking good for the 17 so far, and it's definitely not looking good in this race. And the current point leader, Ryan Newman, the 12th, was definitely not having a good race today. Go even further in the back, and oh my lord. Steve Park, all by his lonesome, nobody around him, on the lead lap, but he's 41st. And he sits 30th in the points. And Steve Park, he's needing some good finishes. And so far, he hasn't really been able to show it. As a matter of fact, he's not actually 41st. That honor goes to Ricky Craven at 32. Because Jeff Burton is actually going to put Craven a lap down. And Burton is going to continue his strong charge. Jeff Burton, ever since Darlington, he's kind of been up and down the order a little bit. Hasn't really had as consistent of finishes as Michael Waltrip has had. But here's Jimmy Spencer in the 7. I mean, qualified inside the top 10, is running 3rd right now. What a run for the 7 car, as we see further back Bill Elliott and Zachary going at it for P6. Zachary's able to run that bottom so nicely. He's actually going to be able to get up to the... Oh man, that was so close between him and Bill Elliott. Oh my god. That was really, really close between the two. Oof. That could have ended badly, and thank God it didn't. Casey Mears continuing to have a good run. He's just fighting Dave Blaney, the 77, who's kind of also had up and down weeks after his best finish at Darlington, of the season at least. Best finish of the season at Darlington. See the battle going on between Zachary and Bill Elliott again. Elliott's going to try to maybe... Oh, a little bit of contact right there between the two. Ooh, a little bit of understeer, excuse me. Pitches the side of Zach again. Holy cow, how are these two not wrecking each other? Somehow in Subway, they both live to see another day. They live to fight another day. Wow. That was scary. those two, for the past couple of laps, have had some pretty hard racing, but kind of terrifying at the same time, you think about it. You see John Andretti going after Tony Raines in the 74. Ooh, man, Raines is like getting really close, getting squirmy on Andretti. Andretti trying to go for 4th. Both these drivers competing for a top 5. They keep battling. They're going to reel in Zach. Oh, John Andretti got really close. And Raines almost got close to Andretti too. Man, these two. First it was Zach and Bill. Now it's Raines and Andretti. Andretti's had a pretty good season. And Tony Raines, on the other hand, ever since he came in back at Vegas, he's been pretty hot as of late. Tony Raines has had a really stellar season so far, and it's only going to continue to get better for Tony Raines in the 74. Who'd have thought a team that wasn't even able to make the 500 is now competing for a top 5 here at California. And they're fighting one of Richard Petty's cars and doing so as well. You see back up at the front, Jeff Burton maintaining a really solid lead over second place Michael Waltrip in the 15. And Burton, he's been pretty good. He's been strong so far. As he comes around this time, he'll have led the most laps so far today. And there it is. So Jeff Burton has led 10 laps, or 11 laps so far this race. 20 laps are complete, 42 to go, and pit stops are on the way. So the pit stops are definitely going to be the interesting part, and depending on how you kind of take care of your tires, fuel might not even be in the question. It might be that all the tires. As a matter of fact, Ricky Craven actually unlapped himself from Jeff Burton, so Craven must have fresher tires than Burton does. Doesn't necessarily mean that Burton's tires are necessarily falling away. Just kind of something to keep an eye out on and look at as the race progresses and see what happens to Jeff Burton. But Burton for Roush Racing is doing a pretty good job. As, like we said earlier, him and Greg Biffle are the only two that have won a race so far this season for Roush Racing. Kenseth came close at both Rockingham and Vegas. And really, ever since Vegas, Kenseth has not been there. And Kurt Busch has been there, but he hasn't really been able to seal the deal, unfortunately. As you see, Jimmy Spencer's actually closing the gap on second place Michael Waltrip. And Zachary is actually going for fourth on John Andretti in the 43. Zachary's he's got him cleared. Ooh, he chops right in front of Andretti in the middle of the corner, cutting off the momentum for the 43 and kind of forcing the 43's hand to go back into the clutches of Tony Raines in the 74. And that'll allow Zach to maintain P4 over John Andretti, who's now 5th, and Tony Raines, who is now 6th. You see Tony Raines going to try the inside of Andretti, but I think Andretti's got a better line than Raines does. Ooh, they get closer to Zach. Holy cow. Man, something happened to Zach. He was super slow, and Andretti and Raines were closing in on him, and they had to slow down really so much. That was almost terrifying as hell. Because now because of that, it's actually going to force Raines into the clutches of Ricky Rudd in the 21. They're almost making contact in the middle of the corner, but Raines is able to hold it over Rudd. Rookie Tony Raines, he's doing pretty good in that 74 car. He's able to maintain it over the Wood Brothers Ford of Ricky Rudd. You see, whoa, Zach goes up the track again. Ooh, Andretti. Ooh, holy cow. Zachary might actually have a problem. Oh my God, Zachary's all the way on the apron. Sorry about that. He's on the apron. He's back up on the track. Now he's gonna go into 3, not taking the line that he wants to take. I think he might let Andretti back by. Something's wrong with that 80 car if he went all the way down to the apron of the track. We're to see if Andretti's going to take the run on the outside of Zach. They're almost side by side as they enter 1 and 2. Seems like Zach's just going to hold the bottom, and he's just going to allow Andretti around the outside. Andretti is faster than Zach is. And there you see Andretti just taking that higher line and able to get right around the 80 of Zachary and retake 4th. So Zachary's still in the top 5. Just something happened, and maybe just lost a little bit of maybe just lost his focus a little bit. As you see further back, Green and Robbie Gorn are going at it. Robbie Gorn is trying to keep his employment at RCR. And it seems like so far he's kind of proving his point and making his point known that he wants to stay with this team. He's just got to stay ahead of Jeff Green and get a good finish out of it. You see second place Jimmy Spencer and Michael Waltrip. Spencer's having a really good run, which is shocking to say, but he's having a real good run in that Sirius Dodge, or Sirius XM Dodge. He is a little bit lower than Waltrip, maybe trying to see if he can maybe get around Waltrip, but he's also getting loose in the center of the corner, so he might be pushing a little too much, and he's kind of hurting his tires a little bit. But for now, Waltrip will keep it. Burton keeps the lead. And Burton has to now start thinking about when he wants to pit. And it's probably not going to be at the halfway point, before the halfway point, or a little bit after the halfway point of the race, which will be lap 31. So drivers do have to kind of make a decision on whether or not they want to pit at some point. And Jeff Burton is going to be the driver that everyone's going to be paying attention to today. Because once Burton pits, that's going to pretty much tell everybody that they're going to need to pit either with him or soon thereafter. That's something that these drivers really have to pay attention to. As in the case of Zach, it seems like whatever was going on with him has actually been fixed and reprimanded, so he's back going. He's actually put quite a distance on Tony Raines behind him. You see Casey Mears in the 41 still having a good run today. Robbie Gorn having a good run. So you got Marlin, Terry Labonte, there's Bobby Labonte finding Johnny Benson. There's Fittipaldi in the 33 ahead of Kenny Wallace, and a lot of even the current Winston Cup point leader and a lot of veterans. We go even further back as we see there's Steve Park. He's actually caught the back of the pack. He's closing the gap on Joe Nemechek in the 25. However, with this current run, it's not looking too good for Steve. He's got to start getting better finishes. But so far, he's He's trying to make up some ground. It seems like he just lost some ground. He's going to try to make it up and try to maybe pass Joe Nemechek into 25. And try not to get lapped by Burton, who's about half a lap away from him. So D-Park's got some leeway to go along with it, I think, at least. But Jeff Burton now, it's like he wants to come in at around lap 31, so pretty much, or around the end of lap 30 into lap 31, which will be at the halfway point of the race. And whenever Burton pits, that will force everybody's hands on them pitting as well. We definitely got to keep that in mind. You see further back, Waltrip and Spencer, they're still thinking about when they want to pit. Spencer thinks he can get around Waltrip. It's just that he just can't get a good enough run to get to the back bumper of Waltrip or get close enough to Waltrip to make the move on him. It's kind of killing Spencer a little bit because he knows he can pass the 15 car. And they also got Jerry Nadeau in the 01 behind him, who is kind of inserting himself into this battle as he's going after Jimmy Spencer. He is a lap down, by the way, in 42nd place, with Bobby Labonte, who's last right now, multiple laps down. The reason why I think even Nate, actually, yeah, Nadeau's multiple laps down as well. I had to double check that and see, but he's they're multiple laps down. And actually, there's Burton. He actually went on pit road. So yeah, at the end of lap 30 into lap 31, that was when he was going to pit. And there he is on pit road. So Burton is on pit road with Waltrip, and Jimmy Spencer's now out front. He actually ended up leading that lap too, so good job to Spencer. But now this will force everyone's hands now that Burton has pitted and second place Waltrip has pitted. You see the pit stops between the two? And Burton is out and away. Pretty fast stop for him. Probably only took 2 tires, or maybe just took fuel. Who knows? And here comes Jimmy Spencer onto pit road. So Jimmy Spencer in the 7 car is in. Let's see who else comes in with him. Jack Sprague also came in. John Andretti, Zachary, Tony Raines, Bill Elliott, Casey Mears, as Ricky Roy is actually going to grab the lead with Dave Blaney behind him, and Robbie Gordon. Look at Robbie Gordon go! He's going to go all the way to the lead. Robbie Gordon is out front, and he even led a lap too. Heck yeah for Robbie. Robbie ended up leading that time. Oh my, look at the stack up on the right side of the screen between all these cars. That is insane. It's going to be pretty difficult, I have to imagine, for Jimmy Spencer and John Andretti to pull out of the box. It's actually not for Spencer. He's actually going to pull out just fine. As you see now, Robbie Gordon is actually coming into the pits. He's going to bring Ricky Rudd and Dave Blaney with him, along with Jamie McMurray. Bobby Labonte won't lap himself. Terry's coming in. Here comes the rest of the field out of the pits. There's Nemechek as well. So yeah, these drivers, these next few are actually coming in. Now it is time to just see where Jeff Burton is. He's coming out of turn number 4. And as he heads down the front straightaway, as Robbie Gordon pulls into his stall, Jeff Burton is back out front here at Auto Club. So the pit cycle worked in Burton's favor. And Jeff Burton's back out front with Spencer's not second, Waltrip's in second, and Spencer's still third. But it worked out beautifully for Jeff Burton in the 99. He's actually put quite a bit of a gap on Waltrip in second. But Burton is catching lap traffic, so that's going to be his main Achilles heel. See, Andretti's now is in 4th, Tony Raines in 5th, Bill Elliott in 6th, Casey Mears 7th, Jeff Green in 8th, Greg Biffle in 9th. Robbie Gordon's coming out of the pits in 10th, but he's going to lose it to Johnson and Zach, who's 10th and 11th now. Robbie Gordon falls back to 12th, and Benson in 13th, McMurray 14th, Earnhardt Jr. 15th, Martin in 16th, Rudd 17th, I think that was Tapadine in 19th, Marlin in 18th, and then Dave Blaney, and then a boatload of other cars. There's the point leader, who didn't really gain anything. There's Steve Park fighting Harvick. He's actually ahead of multiple drivers, more drivers than we thought, and we go all the way back around to Jeff Burton in the 99. As we have some nice shots going on here. The beautiful sounds of the cars going by. This chunk right here is going to be good. I'm gonna have to do a crank it up style because of that. Holy cow, that was beautiful. And Jeff Burton in the 99, he's actually still stuck behind Ricky Craven in the 32 and Joe Nemechek in the 25, so it is kind of alarming for Burton, but he's still able to have a really good gap over Michael Waltrip in the 15 and Spencer in the 7. Look at the gap from Spencer to Andretti. That's a big gap. But Mears is having a great run in that 41 car. Wow. Zachary ended up passing Johnson for 10th. Robbie Gorman's going to try to go after Johnson now on that 31 car. Looks like Rusty Wallace also in the 2 car, forgot to mention. Looks like he got a fast repair and he's all good to go. He doesn't have any damage, so maybe he'll be a contender. Who knows at this point? And there's Steve Park, who was fighting Kevin Harvick and isn't anymore. And Burton, who's still stuck behind Ricky Craven in the 32. He's not able to really get around him, but they are on the same tire. But he is to the inside of the tied Pontiac. Can he get him, though? It might not be enough, though. As Waltrip and Spencer are actually slowly closing the gap on him ever so slightly. So see a battle going on between Jeff Green and the rookie Greg Biffle, and because of that, the Biffle's Rookie of the Year contender Zachary is actually closing the gap on the two. We said this back in Vegas. Zachary and Jeff Green, they did not leave each other, whether it was at Daytona or Vegas or Rockingham, and even here, they still managed to find each other. And Zach gets a nice run on the 2 when he's going to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway for 8th place. Zach gives the 2 enough room. Looks like Zach kind of backed out of it a little bit, but he's going to hook that bottom. Oh, Biffle. He got really close there in the center of 3. He's not really going to lose the position to Zach. He's still going to be able to get a nice run down the straightaway. Zachary going to try to use the slipstream of Jeff Green to maybe pull him alongside Biffle in the 16. As in the center of 1 and 2, can Zachary get a better run than Biffle? It's kind of equal between the two. Yeah, after Talladega, Zachary said he's gonna raise Greg Biffle with so much more respect than he did back at Talladega, and so far he's doing that exact thing. Gets off the bottom a little bit, but he's got a really good run. He passes Biffle. He's going to continue that momentum to Jeff Green in the 30. Who got his first top 5 since Vegas, funnily enough, but he's on a streak right now. He's got back-to-back top 10s. So Jeff Green's on a bit of a roll so far. Whoa, Jeff Green, he got a little bit loose in the center of 1 and 2. Kind of washed him up the track, but not going to lose the position to Zachary or anything. They are side by side down the back straightaway. This is a good racing between these 3. Zachary now, who runs the lane just a little bit above the outside. Really good run through the center, and he's going to take 8th place from Jeff Green in the 30. That was amazing. There's just no other words to say it. That was amazing. These 3 cars right here, Zachary, Jeff Green, and Gray Biffle, there's a possibility that maybe in the future they can be championship threats. There is a possibility. Especially with the 3 of them and the way that they race and how hard they race each other. It could be pretty big. But Zachary, so far, he's going to maintain P8 over 9th place Green and 10th place Biffle. As Biffle is actually going to try, excuse me, to go for 9th on Jeff Green. He's going to be side by side with him down the front straightaway. The rookie, man, the rookies are really going at it. As Gray Biffle in the 16 is going up the track a little bit, trying to maybe get a little bit of a side draft off of Jeff Green to try to pull him back towards him. Ooh. Didn't work though, as Biffle actually had a little bit of a snap of oversteer that unfortunately had to give up his run after Jeff Green, so he'll maintain the position behind him. So look further ahead as there are some drivers pitting, those being Ricky Craven and Steve Park. As Jimmy Spencer's closed the gap on Michael Waltrip now. Spencer ran Waltrip down. That's insane. And I think we know why, because Spencer's actually running a higher line than Waltrip is, and that's allowing him to get a better run off these corners. Maybe not off of that corner, but he's getting some pretty good, he's getting closer and closer to Waltrip, which is insane. Ever since Spencer moved from Chip Ganassi to the 7 car, everyone thought that Spencer was not going to be as competitive as he used to be. But that Ultra Everham Dodge, that Dodge is really good in the hands of Jimmy Spencer, seems like. Hasn't had really good finishes since Daytona, but he's been putting in the work, let me tell you. And right now, he's continuing his momentum around here today with a third, trying to go for second on Waltrip. And if he clears Waltrip with the run that he was able, with the way that he was able to run down Waltrip, he could run down Burton too. So Burton might have some competition, but not in the hands of Waltrip, in the hands of Spencer. As we're now into the final 19 laps of this race. Waltrip is kind of pulling ahead of Spencer, so be able to keep that position. As you see, Zachary still maintaining 8th. Pretty good run for him. The rookies, really good. There are 4 rookies inside the top 10. One of them in the top 5, that being Tony Raines in 5th. Casey Mears is in 7th. Zachary's in 8th. And Greg Biffle is back down at 10th after Johnson passed him for 9th. But still, 4 rookies inside the top 10. That's insane. So Zachary, he's able to have he's having a really good run, but ooh, Jeff Green, he's not having a good run himself. He's actually being swarmed by a whole load of drivers. Whatever happened before, it's not going well for him. He might need to run a lane lower. Just maybe he might have to if he wants to stop bleeding spots. It seems like he's going to do that as he cut right down in front of Benson. Going to maintain the position. As back to Zach, a lot of us thought that he was probably going to come to California and do exactly what he did back at Martinsville, but different style of racetrack. One's a flat paperclip. The other one is a 2-mile oval with some banking to it, but I'll tell you all this right now, come Richmond, Zach's going to be the one to watch because he won the pole for both Bristol and Martinsville, the first 2 short track races of the season. He won one of them, and he finished inside the top 15 in the other. He finished inside the top 15 at Bristol, and he won Martinsville. And with Richmond kind of being a little bit of a mash of both, however, with less banking than Bristol, Richmond could be Zach's cup of tea, and we might have our first 3-peat winner. Who knows? But ahead of him, Casey Mears running 7th, right behind Bill Elliott in the Everham Dodge. Like we said before, it hasn't been super smooth for Casey Mears in the 41 so far this season. He's had flashes of pretty decent runs. However, at the same time, we haven't really seen Casey Mears all that much. But it seems like here today at Auto Club, it's his cup of tea. He's doing really good today. Tony Raines is doing really good as well, maintaining 5th, just behind Andretti, and battle for second, heating up again. Between Michael Waltrip and Jimmy Spencer. Spencer's actually closed the gap on Waltrip, but the two are actually closing the gap on Burton as well, because Burton's behind lap traffic. He's stuck behind lap traffic, as a matter of fact. But Spencer, he could gain on Waltrip in the 15, and he could pass him if Waltrip makes the same mistakes he did, or that he made when he was fighting Burton for the lead. And if he does that, then that releases Spencer. You see the battle for 4th continuing on again between Tony Raines and John Andretti. These two cannot get away from each other today. You see Raines had a really good run coming out of 3 down the front straightaway and into turn 1. He's on the inside of Andretti, trying to take 4th place away from the Cheerios Dodge. Gets a little bit close, but he had to back out of it. So did Andretti, and Raines got to back out of it again. They're going to be side by side down the back straightaway. These two are not giving up. They're not giving way. It seems like Andretti's just barely going to eke out ahead of Reigns, but Reigns is still technically there. He keeps Andretti all the way up on the outside line. Maybe trying to use that to his advantage. Just doesn't seem like it's going to work, though, because Andretti just got a nice run coming off that corner. As now Zachary's actually closed the gap on Casey Mears in the 41. Zachary's been able to running down Casey Mears for the better part of the last 4 to 5 laps. Ever since he passed Biffle and Jeff Green. And so far, he's ran down Casey Mears. Is that a 2? He's actually going to get a really good run. He's actually going to clear Mears. That was a beautiful run through the center of 1 and 2. Holy cow. So Zachary Smithly will take 7th place away from Casey Mears in the 41. Now he can go after 6th place, which is Bill Elliott in the 9, who he passed pretty easily early on in the race. Is Andretti still able to keep the position over Reigns? As Jimmy Spencer, he passed Michael Waltrip. Spencer's passed Waltrip, so Spencer's now 2nd, Waltrip's 3rd. Burton is still stuck behind lap traffic. This could prove costly for Burton. So we look further back to the battle for 6th between between Bill Elliott and Zachary. Zachary has closed in on Bill Elliott. Zachary's been able to save his tires far more better than the rest of the drivers have, it seems like, which is crazy to say to a rookie, but he has. He gets a nice little bite off in the center of 3 and 4. Not necessarily going to get side by side with Bill Elliott quite yet, so he'll tuck in back behind him. He'll tuck in behind. He's kind of peeking out, trying to get some clean air to the nose. Trying to make sure he doesn't get any dirty stuff on that grill. Jumps to the inside. He's going to run that line right above the bottom. Right above the bottom. There we go. Beautifully, and pass Bill Elliott for the lead. The lead for 6th, but not really, because Bill Elliott's coming back on Zach. And Zach, he can just hook that lane one above the bottom oh so nicely. And he's going to clear Bill Elliott for 6th. So the man that started last, inside the top 10, 1 spot outside the top 5, but can he catch 5th place Tony Reigns in the span of 11 laps? I think he can. I think we all think he can, but 5th place is quite a bit of a distance away. But also you got, because of that battle, Casey Mears and Jimmy Johnson have actually joined the frame. And Waltrip's actually kind of fallen off of Jimmy Spencer, but Spencer, he's gaining on Burton, and this is why. 10 to go, and he's finally passing Larry Foyt. He's finally putting Larry Foyt a lap down in the 14. He clears him as they enter 1. Wow, Burton got super loose right there. He's still fighting that car. Oh my god. And because of that, Jimmy Spencer's gaining more and more time, but Larry Foyt's going to try to unlap himself. And Spencer's just continuing his charge. See, Burton runs that outside line. Well, that might be good, but who knows? He has to get a good run off. Him and Larry Foyt were really close in the center of 3 and 4. As now Spencer, he got a better run than the two of them ahead, and he's closed the gap even more. Burton has to nail 1 and 2. He can't get loose, because then that's going to allow Spencer closer. As he kind of backed out of it, he's still backing out of it. He can't clear Larry Foyt. As now Spencer in the 7 is actually now in the clutches of Burton in the 99. What in the world is happening? This is insanity. The reason why I say this is not only because we're coming to 8 laps to go, but because Jimmy Spencer's in position to win for the first time of this season. And he's in position to become the 8th different winner so far this season. And adding his name to the list of drivers that have won the season like Ryan Newman, Zachary Smithly, Bill Elliott, Jeff Burton, the race leader, Jimmy Johnson, Jamie McMurray, and Greg Biffle. He is so close to winning, but Burton is slowly etching out ahead. Has a lot to do with the fact that Burton's car is better than Spencer's. But let's not count Spencer out. Spencer can always gain that time back, as we now have 7 laps to go. The gap is just barely under a second. See Spencer running that higher line than Burton is. Burton's running the middle. Seems like it kind of worked for Spencer. He kind of got a little bit of a run down the back straightaway. He's kind of closing the gap on Burton, but Burton's able to pull away ever so slightly. Man, oh man, who thought we would have a finish like this here at California? So the good news for Burton is that he's able to pull away from Spencer, but the alarming issue is that he's not able to close in on Larry Foyt in the 14 ahead. He's not even really able to close in on any of the lap cars ahead of him. That was a nice 1 and 2 for Jeff Burton there. He actually he's gained more time on Spencer because of that corner. Burton's got a lot of lap cars. He can catch him, and one of them's his teammate, and Matt Kenseth in the 17. But Spencer's is not backing down. He ain't giving up. He's still gonna fight. But Burton, he's pulling. He's pulling away from Spencer. Might be little by little, but he's pulling away from him. As now with 5 laps to go, anything can happen. Spencer's trying to find every little way to maybe get a little bit closer to Jeff Burton, but it just seems like it won't be enough. Spencer's saving grace might have to be Larry Foyt in the 17, as the gap is just a little over a second between the two. Burton is doing everything right, but so is Spencer. He's trying so hard to catch Burton in the 99. The gap is pretty much maintained the same coming out of 3 down the front, or coming out of 4 down the front straightaway for the past 5 laps. And it just seems like Spencer just can't gain anything on Burton. But Burton knows the minute that he gets behind lap traffic, that's going to open the door for Spencer in the 7. So actually we see further ahead, Nemechek was actually trying to pass Matt Kenseth in the 17. Saw Larry Foyt go to the bottom as well, actually up ahead, so maybe that'll help the 99 a little bit. Or maybe not, who knows? So we come to the start-finish line right now, 3 laps to settle it here at California. Nemechek and Kenseth ahead, they're battling it out. If those two cars continue to battle it out, that might set up a last lap duel between Jeff Burton and Jimmy Spencer, but maybe not, because Spencer's actually gained time on Burton. Holy cow, Spencer's gained so much time on Burton. Burton's actually going down the track to try to block the run that Spencer's getting. Spencer runs Burton's line. Oh, but he kind of got squirmy. He lost it. He lost a little bit of time. Burton maintains the lead, but they're coming to 2 laps to go. But you want to know the problem for Burton? He's now catching Larry Foyt again. Remember what happened earlier? He couldn't pass Larry Foyt to save his life. And because of this, now Spencer's gaining more time, and he's to the outside of Burton. Spencer's trying to pass Jeff Burton, but Burton gets a better exit at a 2. It's not Spencer, but Burton has a better run down the back straightaway. Spencer is still maintaining the gap between the two. As now coming out of turns 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway, they're going to see the white flag. Burton's gained time. He's put time on Spencer. White flag one more time at California. Can Burton finally pass Larry Foyt? He can't pass him going into 1, but can he get him in the center of 1 and 2? Nope, he can't. Well, that pulls Spencer towards him. Oh, Spencer's lost a lot of time. No matter what. Seems like Spencer's not going to be able to get to Burton unless Burton spins or something happens. It seems like Jeff Burton, he's going to... Ooh, he got a little snap of oversteer, but he's good. He is good. Out of 3 and 4, down the front straightaway, Jeff Burton can add his name to the list of multi-time winners. Jeff Burton wins at California. Jeff Burton takes his second win of the 2003 season. And my oh my, were we so close to a Jimmy Spencer win. I was thinking it was going to happen. I thought Spencer was going to get him. Unfortunately, though, Spencer just ran out of time. Unfortunately, Spencer just made some mistakes on that last lap, and that's kind of what cost him the opportunity to get the win. Actually, coming to the white flag, he made a couple mistakes, too. But Burton did everything right. He kept his car out front. He kept his car in good condition. He only made some mistakes. He didn't make enough mistakes to the point where it put him in jeopardy of losing the lead and losing the race. But congratulations nonetheless to Jeff Burton on win number 2 of the 2003 season. Phew. What a race. What a race. What a final few laps. What more can you ask for from the season? What more can you ask for? This is absolutely astonishing. Everything that transpired in this race. Let's go ahead and check out the finishing results of today. So Jeff Burton gets the job done for the second time this season with Jimmy Spencer in second, Michael Waltrip third, John Andretti in fourth, Tony Raines in fifth, Zachary Smithly in sixth, Bill Elliott in seventh, Casey Mears was his best career finish in eighth, Jimmy Johnson in ninth, and Greg Biffle in 10th. The rookies really showed out today as 4 of the top 10 positions were occupied by rookies. That's really good. That is really good on their behalf. And you got Robbie Gordon in 11th. A really good finish for him. He needed that. And you got Johnny Benson in 12th, Jamie McMurray in 13th, Dave Blaney 14th, Sterling Marlin in 15th, Terry Labonte in 16th, Jeff Green 17th, Mark Martin in 18th, Ricky Rudd in 19th, and Dale Earnhardt Jr. finishes in 20th. Kind of expected a little bit more to Dale Earnhardt Jr., but you can also say the same thing for Terry Labonte, but they both got really good finishes, and the same goes for Jeff Green, but pretty decent finishes on their behalf. And you have Christian Fittipaldi finishing in 21st, ahead of Rusty Wallace in 22nd, Jerry Mayfield in 23rd, Top Bodine in 24th, Jeff Gordon in 25th, Kenny Wallace in 26th, Mike Skinner in 27th, Kurt Busch 28th, Tony Stewart in 29th, and Ryan Newman finishes in 30th. Now, if you think as to where Zach finished, there's a possibility that Ryan Newman just lost his points lead. Big possibility. But we'll get to that in a minute, as we still have these finishing results to go to. As Jack Spray finishes 31st, Kyle Petty 32nd, Kevin Harvick in 33rd, Elliott Sadler 34th, Dale Jarrett 35th, Ward Bird in 36th, Matt Kenseth 37th, Joe Nemechek 38th, Larry Foyt in 39th, and Jerry Nadeau finishing this race in 40th. Don't really know what to say about the Robert Yates boys, but not looking too good for them. And Matt Kenseth and Kevin Harvick. Don't know what happened to them. And then the final 3 positions of Steve Park in 41st, Ricky Craven in 42nd, and Bobby Labonte, who just wasn't really able to capitalize off of anything, finishes in last. And just didn't go too well for him after lap 6. And it sucks to say, but at the same time, with no cautions coming out, there was a possibility for some cautions to happen. But, like I said before, just not really a whole lot for Bobby Labonte to capitalize on. But let's go ahead and check out the point standings, which there's a change at the top of the point standings, which means Zachary Smithly, the rookie, leads the Winston Cup Series Championship for the first time in his career, and for the first time since Jimmy Johnson did last season. Ryan Newman falls down to second, with Ricky Rudd third, Jeff Gordon in fourth, Jimmy Johnson in fifth, Bill Elliott in sixth, Michael Waltrip seventh, Kurt Busch eighth, Matt Kenseth in ninth, and Jeff Burton in 10th. Kevin Harvick in 11th, Jeff Green in 12th, Jamie McMurray in 13th, John Andretti 14th, Tony Stewart 15th, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in 16th, Mayfield in 17th, Dale Jarrett in 18th, Mark Martin in 19th, and Tony Raines cracks the top 20. They have Grave 21st, Elias Aller 22nd, Rusty Wallace 23rd, Kenny Wells 24th, Benson in 25th, Bobby Labonte in 26th, Sterling Marlin in 27th, Terry Labonte in 28th, Kyle Petty 29th, and Dave Blaney in 30th. Then you got Tabadai in 31st, Ricky Kramer in 32nd, Steve Park falls to 33rd, excuse me. And Joe Nemechek 34th, and Casey Mears 35th. So he's not a part of the below top 35 go or go homers anymore. He's solidly inside the top 35, ahead of Warburton now in 36, Nadu 37, Jimmy Spencer 38th, Robbie Gordon in 39th, and Larry Foyt in 40th. Then there's Ken Schrader in 41st, Mike Skinner 42nd, Jack Sprague 43rd, Atwood 44th, Mike Wallace in 45th, Christian Fittipaldi 42nd, Kerry Earnhardt 47th, Pruitt 38th, Shelmerdine 49th, Buckshot 50th, Brett Bodine 51st, Herman Fowler 52nd, and Derek Cope in 53rd. So, yeah. A rookie, once more, leads the point standings, coming out of California. And we're going to see if he can extend his point lead, because we're heading to Richmond for the Pontiac Excitement 400 next time out. And the reason why I say that is because Zachary Smithly, like I said before, he won polls at both Bristol and Martinsville. He won Martinsville, and he finished top 15 at Bristol. So Zach's going to be a force to be reckoned with, probably at Richmond. Who knows? But I want to thank you all so much for watching this video. If you guys did enjoy it, leave a like, subscribe, and hit that notification button below for some more. Hope you guys enjoyed this race just as much as I did. And I will see you all in the next race at Richmond. And we're going to see who stays with their teams and who, unfortunately, is out of a ride after Richmond. Thank you all so much. I'll see you all later. Have a great day, everyone. I love y'all, and goodbye.